when it comes to the time here with Bert, you just can't tell the story of our fair project and team over the last 4 or 5 years without Bert Wicks. His fingerprints are all over everything that we do, just thanks to how willingly he shared his accountability, his tough love, and just the joy he brings. Guys, he's going to talk to us about 1,000 CPO orders. What could that be? That could be packages, that could be sets, that could be any number of things, but it has more to do with a mindset, a strategic focus and intentionality, and really driven from a basis of quality questions and preparation. And so to talk about $1,000 orders, Bert Wicks, they're all yours, my friend.
Brian, that's got to be one of the best intros I've ever had in my entire life. My guy. Thank you. God, there should be a message that's just given on how to give good introductions. And Brian, you're the king. So, my guy, thank you. Um, all right. So I titled this message, and it's it's great to follow Matt in a sense where it's like I love that Matt is like realistic in the sense of like it is our job to make the big packages. And I've been able to work with Matt and I saw the magic, right? It's very much just your confidence in selling the ultimate set, the legacy cookware set or the bundle. Like Matt embodies that, right? And I think what and I'm going to be giving a message on more $1,000 packages and more $1,000 orders. And it's how you identify with how you sell Cutco and what you sell matters so much. So to start this, my title of my message is Make $1,000 Orders the New Normal. So everybody on this call has had multiple $1,000 orders that have happened in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, in Texas, right? We've all had them, right? For those of you that are guests that are brand new, newsflash, you're gonna have a lot of $1,000 orders. It's gonna be great. However, I'd be curious to say if you were to ask yourself the question, how many of you have had a $500 order that should have been a $1,000 order? Right? I know I have, right? We're being honest with ourselves. And it's literally just if you were better and more confident with your transition out of those three main sets or that ultimate upgrade or that dedicated cookware set or that flatware chest that's 12 settings versus 4 or 6, right? Remember, guys, 6 settings of flatware, low key. It's like crazy good CPO. It's like $1,300 line one because Cutco's expensive. It's sick, right? So, all that being said, your attitude on how you feel and think about $1,000 orders, just remember, it is not just because you go from a homemaker down to a 5 piece, that does not mean our job is over, right? We are at fairs that are fast paced, right? Like sometimes you got to get them, you got to get them out. But most people, I think, could be averaging closer to $800, $900, $1,000 average orders if they were like more intentional about $1,000 are normal. $1,000 orders are normal. That's what we're used to having. Like it's very difficult to have a 10K day without an ultimate. It's very difficult to have a 10K day without again 25 gifts or 20 gifts. But it's also very difficult to have that 10K day if you don't have 3 or 4 or 5 sprinkled $5,000 orders that happen as well. Okay? Like I just had this happen to me last week at the North Dakota State Fair where I had a person that was like, man, I want the signature set so badly, but timing was awful, right? Like they're in the middle of a move, just didn't really make sense for them to get the full set yet. And I handled it so well, right? And got them a 5 piece with 4 steak knives and a scissors, and it was $1,100 CPO. And it was like, oh, let's do that. I can do $200 a month, but there's no version of me doing $450 a month, right? So just remember when a person is coming up to you saying like, hey, like I got to get everything, right? If I'm going to do it, I got to get everything. Your approach. And if you're having a lot of people walk away on ultimates and signature sets and not buying anything, take a look at yourself in the mirror. If you are not being intentional with how you are talking about the $1,000 orders, which again, guys, like Seth said this like 2 years ago, right? As we've experienced price increase after price increase after price increase, right? $1,000, guys, they're just getting a little less cucko than they were 3 or 4 years ago. That's it. But your excitement around that $1,000 package matters more than ever, more than ever, right? Um, so I'll say this, a couple things before I jump into some mindset stuff or to some tactical stuff, right? I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I don't think anybody is ever shocked about the $1,000 order, right? It feels good, right? We don't fall over our chair or out of our chair over it, right? But here's the catch. I just don't think most people on this call expect them that consistently. And the truth is, you can't really outperform your own expectations in the long run, right? So like if you think like, yeah, like $500, $6, like those are the orders that I might get a lot of today. It's not an accident that your average order is $500, $600. It's not an accident, guys, that Matt Graves's average order is just shy of $1,500. It's just not because Matt is expecting to sell Homemaker Plus, Homemaker Plus, Homemaker Plus. Okay. But when $1,000, so again, like we talk about this all the time with James Clear, right? We don't fall to the level of our standards, we fall to the level of our systems, right? So it's like your systems that are in place on how you are talking about a $1,000 package, which I'm going to give you some ideas today on what you can do with specific packages to make them more exciting, to make them more desirable, right? You have to know that your expectation of $1,000 orders more consistently is where it all starts, right? When $1,000 becomes our standard and we're systemizing our approaches to selling more $1,000 orders and not $600 orders, right? That's when your internal thermostat, right? Your whole posture changes around how you're talking about it. And that's why Matt's like, guys, he's talking about ultimates as cool as a cucumber. It's because he just has done it so many times. He's convinced himself, right? Like he has tripped himself into doing it enough times where he's like, that's just the way to do it. Like it's not, it's not that hard. I just do it more often than anybody else, right? So if you take like $1,000 orders right now, as those are bonuses, like, ooh, those are nice orders. And I will challenge you to make those like those are your bread and butter. Those are your bread and butter, right? We always say like I'm pretty sure Josh you coined it, right? 5 quality conversations is a 5K day, right? 5 quality conversations, that's all it is. And sometimes you're gonna have a cheese knife mixed in that, but you're probably gonna have a bundle in there as well. 5 to thrive, right? So what if we stop chasing $1,000 orders and we just start expecting them? What does that look like in your business? Okay. All right. So I've got 3 main packages that I believe are going to move the needle on how you are going to specifically sell more of these $900 to $1,200-ish orders more consistently. Okay. I'm gonna start with it because hashtag again, I kind of joked about it, right? Year of the galley, right? It was kind of a joke, but Jesus Christ, guys, like the year of the galley is a real thing, right? Like it was a thing, right? Like I'm all jokes aside, like I love selling ultimates and signatures and like that's a real thing. Like focus on that. But dude, I'm not gonna turn down a person that's like, I can't afford $1,600 for a knife set. There's people out there that exist that can't afford it, and that's okay, right? So get out of your own way. The galley slaps, right? It's a $943 CPO item when you give a shears for free with the galley. It's unbelievable, right? Like not even 4 or 5 years ago, that was like 700 CPO. And that's like almost 1,000 CPO now, right in this wheelhouse of selling $1,000 averages, right? That is such a powerful set if you talk good about it. Okay. So guys, if a person is you are talking to, you are doing the 3 set close, you're in it, right? You're talking about it, and they're kind of wishy-washy. You're getting to some confirmation questions, and they're like, yeah, like we really want it, but like you can see the body language. It's just not clicking. Okay. Your job is to ask what you guys have heard before, but I don't hear enough of you say it that often. And it is tried and true. Just like Matt just said with the bundling of cookware and Ultimate being like, hey, can I make a suggestion real quick? It seems like to me this might not make sense today. So you can do the same thing with an Ultimate set, or excuse me, with a Homemaker set, right? Where it's like, hey, just if I'm reading the room correctly here, Mrs. Jones, it sounds like based on what we're talking about, you really like the idea of having some good knives and replacing what you have at home, right? Does that sound accurate? Yeah, my knives suck. But it also sounds like this might be pushing the envelope a little bit budget-wise right now, that it just doesn't quite make sense to do the full basic set. Yeah, you're totally right. And by the way, guys, when you vocalize this shit, sorry for my part of my French. When you vocalize this stuff, the amount of relief that comes from a person that wants Cutco, just can't afford the package, they are all in on you. Because they're like, yes, I want Cutco, but God, this is just too much right now. I can't do it. The next suggestion you make, guys, carries so much weight, which is, hey, can I make a suggestion? It sounds like you guys like the idea of having the basic set or the complete set, family set, whatever it is, but it just doesn't quite make sense to do all of it right away just because of the budget. Can I take a second to show you an option that would probably be way better for your budget, but also gets you the tools that you're the most excited about? Real quick before you go, you'd be surprised how many people are like, yes, show me. I would love that. Guys, 240 bucks a month is just not that much money a month. And it is significantly less than 335 bucks a month, right? It just is. It's $100 less a month for 3 less knives and a couple of table knives, 2 less knives, sorry, and a fork, right? So remember how we transition. It's very simple. It's, hey, Mrs. Jones, just out of curiosity, I know you said you like to grill. Could you get by with a small carving set? Yes, I could. And would you be okay with cutting a watermelon with a longer bread knife? And would you be okay with cutting a sweet potato with like a chef knife for the time being? Yes, I would. Okay, great. And could you guys get by with 6 table knives instead of 8? Yes, we could. Okay. How you drop down and being aware of your situation, guys, you will close galleys like it is taking candy from a baby. It is so fast. It is so easy. Okay. So that's my 2 cents on galleys. The second package that we have to be really intentional about is 5 pieces with steak knives and scissors. 5 pieces with steak knives and scissors. They slap. Okay. This is perfect for the person that's like, I want a signature and ultimate set, but like I gotta buy the whole set. I can't do it right now, but like I'm gonna get this like next year in like a few months, right? I love being like, hey, before you go, can I show you the someday set? The someday set? Yeah, it's the someday set where people are like, someday I'm gonna get Cutco, but they just can't quite make it, it just doesn't quite make sense to buy a $3,000 knife set right now. But their knives are really crappy and they want to get better knives. Can I take a second to show you what that looks like? Yeah, you can take a second to show me what it looks like. Before you ever show the 5 piece, guys, break it down to the simplistic, which is what we found out of the set, Mrs. Jones, that you want, which is that family size set or that complete set, is all you really technically need on a daily basis is a knife for fruits, vegetables, breads, cooked meats, and the things that are sticky or starchy like potatoes and blocks of cheese. So what we did is we created a package that you cannot buy online. It is not a package that you can buy online. So it is an event exclusive. So we know that steak knives are really important. Would you guys prefer 4 or 8? We could get by with 4. Okay, great. Now I know you guys love the idea of the scissors. So essentially what you get is, and then you lay out the 5 pieces and they're like, oh, and then you show them the tray and it's like, yeah, it's the clean out the drawer package, Mrs. Jones. Essentially we found most people have a drawer of death. And it is just like you're sifting through to find the one knife that kind of sort of cuts. And it just is kind of scary when you go into the drawer, right? And that's why it's called the drawer of death. So the idea is you can take that entire drawer of death, toss it, give it to Salvation Army, give it to your 21-year-old kid that's just moving out of their first house, whatever. And you just get 5 everyday knives, your 4 steak knives, and your scissors. And the cool thing is, Mrs. Jones, is these 5 knives fit into every single block set that we sell. So eventually, when you guys want to get into that family set, all we do is we get you the block, a few more steak knives, and the knives you're missing. That's it. And we give you a discount on those pieces. So you're not penalized in the long run by having to rebuy all the pieces you've already purchased. And they're like, oh, yeah, so how much does that cost? And then you show them the price, and it's literally almost $2,000 less than what they're looking at with a family set. And they're like, oh, and that's only 250 bucks a month? Oh, I'm in. It's crazy. It's all about phrasing and framing, guys. That's it. You are just recognizing where the customer's at. You're vocalizing, hey, I can see that you want it, but hey, can I take a second to show you something that actually might make a lot more sense for you that also saves you money on the budget today? Okay. Now, the third thing that I think is most thing again that is something that's slept on a lot And again, the gourmet set slaps. So don't sleep on the gourmet set, especially for the person that is like, I'm all in on the ultimate. I want the meat and barbecue knives. Gourmet set with 4 steak knives and scissors is such an easy set to sell as well. I'm not going to take any time on that because it's a very, very easy set to sell. But something that I think a lot of us sleep on are ultimate builders. Okay, guys? The ultimate builder is literally in the book. Literally, it's $1,200 less. It's $1,200 less. It's $1,200 less. And they're getting a couple less steak knives and they're getting 4 less knives. That's it. That's the only difference. And it's because we're taking out the cleaver, which is a $300 knife, right? So remember when you are talking to a person about an ultimate upgrade, and by the way, totally stealing the label. Like I've never done that, Matt, and I'm doing that. Like that's cash. So when you are talking to a person though, and they don't have the ability, right, to be able to afford that $400, $500 a month for a full ultimate upgrade. Also, I'm pretty sure Chelsea gave this message last year. Don't be afraid to give a deal on an ultimate upgrade, guys. Just don't be afraid to give a deal. Like you can still give 2 knives for free in an ultimate upgrade and it's 1700 CPO. Like it's a lot of money for just 9 knives a block and 4 more table knives. It just is because it's all a la carte. So don't be afraid to give a deal, right? But if you have a person that's just like, yeah, that's just pushing it, but I really want it, right? It's like, hey, can I show you an option that gets you all the knives you really want, but right now just like saves you a lot of money on the saves you a lot of money per month on the budget, but it gets you the block because everybody's already outgrowing their block, and it gets you the knives you're most excited about, right? And again, through conversation, you've already known what 5 pieces they were like, ooh, that's cool. So you're like, yeah, we get the 5 pieces you were most excited about. That's what it is. And then we just get you the block. Could you guys get by with 2 more table knives? Then you have 10. Could you guys get by with that? You probably already realize half of them are in the dishwasher any day, every day anyway, right? So even if you didn't get up all 12, again, your block's never going to be full because they're always dirty, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's kind of right. Because now you're popping the fear bubble of like, oh, I want the full set. Your block's never full. My block has never been full. Like it's always half of it is always dirty, right? And same with your customers, especially if they have kids, guys, right? That's why people lose steak knives. It's because they don't recognize when they lose a steak knife because their kids freaking threw it away like 5 years ago and they were like, oh my God, we tried to fill the block up for the first time in 5 years and we didn't have those steak knives. What the hell happened? Right? All that being said, is, hey, let's get you the 5 pieces you're most excited about. Let's get you 2 more table knives and get you a block. And by the way, I'm still going to take care of that ice cream scoop and the can opener. And just because I can tell you really like, I just really want you to like me more and buy more later, I'm actually going to buy you a knife out of the set real quick. And again, especially when you guys are at quick events, guys, don't be afraid to just, I mean, pull a Kelvin, right? Just get him a deal. You don't have to throw in the boat, but get him a deal. And it's still $1,000, right? So just remember when you are showing the ultimate builder, guys, visuals matter. Show them the 5 knives, put them on the countertop, put them in front of them, put them on the cutting board that you're using. Visuals matter. It's all 5 of these plus the block. And always remember, guys, when you're talking about the block, I know it looks like a microwave, Mrs. Jones, but it's literally the size of a sheet of paper. And put a brochure right on the back of it. And they're like, oh, that's it. So, like, if you have room for a piece of paper, you got room for the block. And how nice would it be, Mrs. Jones, that cheese knife that's been sitting in the drawer that whole time that you just don't use that often and actually finally have a spot for it. Okay. So, language that matters, right? To kind of put a bow on all this, language that matters is most people in your position do this, right? Most people that are feeling this way about what you're feeling do this. Can I take a second to show you an option where most people feel a certain way, kind of like you do right now, take advantage of, right? I totally get it, right? When they have hesitation. Hey, I totally get it. Just so you know, though, you don't have to get the whole entire set to get what you really need, right? We can still build up a setup eventually that feels complete for you, right? Lead with your benefits, not just the items. Like Matt talks about, you don't need to talk about all the knives. It's just lead with the benefits, right? This gives you the 5 most popular knives, gets you the full entire kitchen coverage, right? Like gets you your everyday things that you're going to take advantage of. And it gets you the scissors that everybody wants. And the only way to buy the scissors, like in a part of a deal, is to buy the family set, which is $2,800. Right. And then plant the seeds to boost the value of being able to upgrade later, right? Which is, hey, you'll still qualify for free stuff, Mrs. Jones. Even if you start smaller today, I can still hook you up with a deal, right? And even with a smaller package, we can still get you savings, right? And even if you ever want to upgrade, the great thing about this package, Mrs. Jones, you're more than halfway there. Again, all you're doing is planting seeds for them to be like, oh, that makes sense. I can feel good about starting with something smaller, right? So to kind of put a bow on all this, you don't have to be some pushy salesperson to sell $1,000 orders. You guys know this. But I think the disconnect is we're not asking enough questions to be like, hey, just out of curiosity, it sounds like you want this, but it also sounds like maybe it's pushing the envelope. Can I take a second to show you an option that might be better? Right? You just have to have the confidence in showing that the value that you're showing them is still significant, guys. It's still so significant, even when they're starting with less Cutco, right? The money is in the middle, right? At the end of the day, those $1,000 orders, man, they stack up so quick. And again, remember the power of those $1,000 orders, guys, is that they are conditioned as they come back to the fair to spend thousands of dollars with you every single year. It's like, cool, $1,000. And I love it when a person bought 1,600 bucks and they get away with 1,100. I'm like, you guys got away easy this year, right? It's not just about those $2,000 knife set orders, guys, those $3,000 knife set orders, right? You got to remember that those customers and how you talk to them, that's going to click, but you're going to run into the fact that people just can't afford the big set sometimes. So how are you handling that to find the sweet spot where they're excited, but they're also not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm just going to wait till I get the big set." If you're hearing that, guys, I ask you to kind of challenge your thinking on how are you reframing that drop down, right? So if your average order is 600 bucks right now, guys, again, can you be that person that is averaging $900, $1,000, right? Orders consistently by the time the fair ends, right? Even if you just sold galley steak knives all day, every day, you'd smoke your numbers, right? You'd smoke them, right? So, with that being said, that's what I got. $1,000 orders. It's all up here. You guys are really good at what you do. So, don't sleep on yourself. Just be intentional.
Amazing, amazing.